Hey guys, Bort here, and I've got a bit of a different type of video for you guys today. As you all know, Act 1 of the Warmfrye Welcome event has started. This is based off the Circens episode, and I feel like, although it's a great event so far, I'm loving it. I've seen all the items that there is going to be out in the future. Watch my spoiler video if you want to see those. But I feel like there are a couple things from the episode that would have been great, spruced up the event, and that they missed it. Quick note, I'm not going to be counting pretty much any of those like town little buildings just because they all look the same and they already added like 20 of them. Um yeah, starting off with the gelatinous cube, I think this is one of the most important things. I don't see a reason why they couldn't have added. I guess it could be tied with D&D, but like and they added the Ice Walker basically. They added Paul Blur. I mean obviously like as long as they renamed a little they could have done something with it. And this applies to some more stuff later, but I feel like with this, Jeff definitely just could have spruced up the event a little, especially because, spoilers, in Act 3 we don't have a character. Um, and I feel like it just would have made it a little better, have an NPC, have it be a character, just something for us that's not super premium, that's a doppelganger, that's not a doppelganger. Now, I'll say I like all the doppelgangers in this event, but it would have been nice to have add something original besides a super premium, which I'm not very interested in anyway. And I think this would have been a really cool NPC. But let's move on to our next one, which is Mercury. Now, thankfully, I see a lot of people talking about this. This is like the meme from the episode. It's Marge's cousin that she should have married, but I I do feel like I can see, and this applies to another thing um later that I'm going to talk about in the video, but he's just a very bland character. It's just Marge with a beard and like a rags and stuff. I don't really see them being able to do anything cool with it. And I think the approach that they took in this event by, if you did notice, they actually have not added any of the actual Circens, which is in the event, which I'm pretty happy about because they look pretty boring. But I think they're trying to make it add the actual cool stuff instead of the boring looking Circens, and I think this applies to Mercury too. He's just not very cool looking. And yeah, moving on with the same rule to the Circens, there's 5 of them, but none of them really look very interesting. I guess maybe Maggie could have been alright with a little beak, but and like there are animations that you could have given them. That could have been cool, Lisa doing her magic. But overall, they just look very bland. I feel like they could have been costumes, but they're definitely going with the actual doppelganger approach with this event, which I'm fine with. Um, but I feel like I'm glad that they didn't add them because there's just very bland looking characters. Definitely, like, just seems like a costume, not very, like the actual characters. So yeah, I don't know. But let's move on to our next one, which is the Hobbits. Now, this could have been a decoration with them in the cage. They could have been NPCs, and they could have just renamed them. Because obviously, Paul Blart and the Ice Walker and all of these like celebrities, parodies that they're like now adding in the game, they don't have a problem with it. Family Guy does it all the time, um, even without them being in the show. Which I mean, I don't like what Family Guy does, but I feel like it's a thing that they could have done. And I feel like this would have been cool looking. Just to rename it to like elves or whatever, mystic creatures, something by their like some name that Tapped Out comes out with instead of hobbits. I think it would have been pretty cool, and it could have had a nice animation. But nevertheless, I think it's all right. Moving on to our next one, which is the Noble Knight, and I think this is the biggest thing that I don't understand why they added. Um, Basically, they don't really like. First of all, this character doesn't really have a name. I've been coming up with like names for some of these. So they call him a noble, and then it says on this that he's a knight. So it's just Rainier Wolfcastle, but I think this is a big thing because he could have been walking around with his high horse. And yeah, he's not the coolest looking, but I do feel like he's pretty important to the story. This, with him like stabbing this guy, would have been a cool animation. Um, and yeah, there are definitely other doppelgangers in it, but like if they're gonna add the cool ones that are important to the story, I kind of wish they would have added this guy. Maybe just add him as like we didn't have a character in Act 3. Could have been cool if we could have gotten him. Or just the horse, as an NPC, that would have been fine. Moving on to our next one. This, I couldn't really come up with a name in it. I'm not sure what this is in D&D either. Like, I know some D&D stuff, but I'm just not sure. Um, and it's just like a Wiggum monster creature. I just think it looks cool. Yeah, they're just adding the ones that they thought looked cool. So, I mean, why not? I think he looks nice and they could have done something with him. But, who's complaining? I think he looked cool, but not that much. Here's the biggest one that I do really wish they added. I understand there's a problem with Apu and stuff in the show. I understand they're working on it in the show, and they're trying to get him back. I was talking with some people about this yesterday. They're trying to get him back on the show, recasting him with a new actor. Because of all the racial problems, there's a great documentary about that called The Problem with Apu. So you guys should check that out. But um, I do feel like I do understand why they didn't add him, because they haven't really added much Apu content in the game, but he has appeared in quest lines and stuff again, and has been in background of the show. So and he's been in parts just not speaking because they're, I believe, still trying to figure that out. But he's definitely not disappeared from the show altogether. He's back ish. Um, and he's still in the game too. So I feel like I do wish they would have added this, because this is a very cool one. They added Sorcerer Frank a while back as a costume when they were just adding Surfson's content without that. Um, and I think this is just a really cool looking one. I wish they would have added it. And then we have, I believe, our last one, which is Merchant Guy. He's just what I called it. Him. He's just comic book guy. He makes a quick little offhand joke in the end. But I think he looked pretty cool. And I'm a big comic book guy fan. I love the character. Um, and I think this would have been a cool character as well. Few quick notes before we end the video that I just didn't do. Just maybe some random D&D care stuff would have been cool. Like there was a thing with a beholder, which is that little monster with the eyes. I'll put a picture of that on screen. I just think that would have been cool. And then some of the little doppelgangers. Tell me if there's anything that I missed down in the comments below that you wish they would have added in this event. And tell me from what I've done, what you wanted. What are your thoughts on the event as well? And yeah, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. As well, like the video, just so I can get it out to as many people as possible. And yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.